We are here again with Rahi and Roy with another edition of American Soccer Break. And we have the most important tournament in the world coming up. It is bigger than the World Cup. It's called the Gold Cup. Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number
No,
one
this
tournament.
is what it's all about. This is what matters the most.
The Gold Cup.
Yep.
It's going for the gold. No, but in all seriousness, I think, what do you guys feel about the roster, which I'll bring up in a second, and what is the point of this tournament for the U.S. national team?
It's a good question, and the way you phrase it is nice. What is the point? We just played a massive tournament. We brought our first team, and we beat our regional rivals. So, as the Nations League has come about, what is the point of the Gold Cup? I think the answer is that it's for 1 to 2 players to emerge from this, what really is a B squad, to then rise up into potential being a part of the A squad. So last time, right, it was Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson, who was fantastic throughout the tournament, and now is a shoo-in starter for the national team, him or Walker Zimmerman. But I will say this, that tournament is about one player emerging. And who is that player going to be, Roy? That's the question, right? Who on this team can fight for minutes, starting minutes with the A squad?
Yeah, I think this tournament is about depth. It's about figuring out who the next superstar is, like you said, Rocky, because some people will say this tournament doesn't matter, but depth is what makes a team great. You bring someone off the bench who's going to make an impact, not just fill a role on a lower level. So I'm looking at the progression of Zendejas. I'm looking at the progression of Cade Cowell. He's a guy I want to do so well. I wish Luna was in this tournament. He's not. It is what it is. But here we got all the players. So who am I looking at? Mihailovic. Haven't seen him in a long time. He's supposed to be our number 10 backup, perhaps a Gio Reyna backup. Aiden Morris is a badass for the Columbus Crew. But is it because the Crew plays to his strengths? We'll find out right here. Alan Sonora, another guy who looks like a capable number 10, technical, keeps the ball moving. Can he do it for the U.S.? He hasn't shown it yet. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this tournament.
Yeah, I don't
Rahi,
really care about
who's looking good for you? Oh, you don't really care about these guys or what?
No, I don't. The results are less important, to be honest. For me, it's a guy that we've talked about a lot on this show, and that's Cade Cowell, who's shown it at the U20 level, showed it in an amazing friendly against Serbia where he was constantly a threat down the left wing. He's a player who has all the tools in his bag. He just hasn't put it together. He could be a little more polished, and he's going to get serious minutes in this tournament. So for me, I'd love to see him take that next step because he's on the cusp. He's on the cusp of being a really dangerous player, and I like to see where he fits in. Is he a solid B player right now, or is he pushing for a spot with that A team?
And left back, man. We don't have a backup left back for our A team. We're shifting Dest. We're shifting other guys into that position. We even consider Timothy Weah back there. That's freaking ridiculous. We need an outside back on the left to back up Anthony Robinson. And we have one guy on this roster who's doing really well in MLS, and that's John Tolkin. Different kind of player, but he has the potential, if he plays well in this tournament, to be the backup to Anthony Robinson going forward.
Yeah, Tolkien I like. What about DeJuan Jones? I like him. I think he's a bit
too.
older. He's not Tolkien young, but I've liked what I've seen from him so far. He seems a little more ready than Tolkien, but granted, he's a few years older.
Yep. Yeah. And don't forget about my boy, Jalen Neal. LA Galaxy represent. LA. Let's go, boys. Jalen Neal.
I like Jalen Neal. He just has to round out his game.
I think it's going to be, So I think it's going to be a lot of, like you said, who's the player who's going to step it up. And the first opportunity to do that is against a team that actually brought A++ squad.
Yeah. So, the Reggae Boyz. The Reggae Boyz aren't messing around this tournament. This is a serious squad.
So in a few minutes, we're going to have someone who's specifically a Jamaican correspondent, big fan of the Reggae Boyz. We'll have him in a second. But from a U.S. perspective, Roy, what do we got to do in this game?
Yeah, man. We got to deal with Damari Gray, Leon Bailey, Mikel Antonio, Aaron Long, Matt Miazga, Miles Robinson, Yedlin, Reynolds, Jalen Neal. Can these guys deal with very, very high quality top three? They don't have to do it on a weekly basis. They don't have to do it in MLS very often. Can they step up their level to deal with these three guys?
Yeah, the big question is defensively. You're right, Roy. These are going to be the best forwards any of these guys have played against.
Yeah.
Even Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson's played against Mexico. Well, Jonathan David. Sorry, so he might have, but he didn't play in that game against Canada. But I think this is a serious test because this is a very, very, very good Jamaica team, talent-wise. The question is chemistry, and these are all the first time these guys are playing together. So there's going to be a bit of a learning curve, and we're lucky to play them in the first game as opposed to as they grow into this tournament. But this is a talented team, individually very skilled. A lot of questions in the back.
Yeah. It's scary. I'm scared, man. I'm a little scared of our back line playing that top three. Ooh, I just hope Aaron Long isn't the starter. That's all.
Well, speaking of starters and subs, we are gonna sub our boy Roy out now.
What?
We're gonna bring in a Jamaican correspondent.
Wow.
Yeah, we got to. I got to make some changes here, man, because that's the only way. Roy, you didn't make the A team. Sorry, you're gonna
take this off. You'll be hearing from my mom and my dad, Claudio Rosell. He's going to be calling your bosses. See you guys later. I don't care about this anymore.
All right, we are back. We promised you we'd be back with our Jamaican correspondent, and we have found him.
We found him. He's here.
Chris Brown, what's happening? What's happening with you?
Doing well. Long time listener, first time caller. Happy to be here with you boys.
Well,
we're happy to have you. The biggest Reggae Boyz fan I know. Welcome in, Chris.
So, Chris, let's start off. You guys brought some big boys with you this time, huh? So
most certainly did. I think maybe they looked around at the rest of the region, figured the top dogs may have been tired out from last weekend in Vegas, and said, "All right, well, here's our opportunity. We're gonna get some of the best that we have to offer. If you indulge me, I can run down the roster and give you some of the accolades on the resume."
Yeah. Let's do that, man. So let's get started. Talk to me about some of the top reggae boys on this team and who we have to worry about for.
All right. So up front, the headliner, West Ham's top man himself, Michael Antonio, lead scorer in club history, fresh off of a Europa Conference League championship. You got Leon Bailey, just got his Aston Villa side to 7th place, and they will be making a Europa Conference League championship after that Premier League season. Damari Gray, recent Reggae Boy, the newest Reggae Boy, just managed to get his passport to come through. Wouldn't be a Reggae Boy side if somebody wasn't waiting last minute on the passport. But fresh off of preventing Everton from getting a relegation, he is going to be in the side. Andre Blake in goal, as well as Shamar Nicholson and Damon Lowe. So those are, I'd say, really the names that kind of headline this roster. And if Jamaica is going to win any games or do anything of significance in this tournament, you're probably going to be hearing about one, if not multiple names from the ones I just listed for you.
Chris, this is a really strong roster that they brought. So I have a very pointed question for you, which is in 2015, 2017, that was those 2 Gold Cups, back-to-back finalists. Of course, the first one started the end of the Klinsmann era, really, in many ways. And then losing that final in 2017 against the U.S., that was the Altidore free kick and then a late Jordan Morris goal. Is this team better than those teams in 2015 and 2017? That's the closest they've gotten. So that's my question to you, Chris. Better, the same, or worse?
So if we're going purely based off of the accomplishments on the club side resume, yes, this would be hands down the most talented roster that Jamaica's ever fielded. And having all these players in the side at once, that's not something that Jamaica's consistently been able to get. That was a issue that plagued them throughout the Qatar 22 qualifiers. They just, between COVID restrictions, injuries, a bunch of other reasons, just couldn't get this core group of guys on the field together. Now, the one issue and caveat with all that talent is that they're just being thrown together kind of on the fly. So it's really going to be on the head coach, Heimer Hallgrimsson. You may remember him from getting Iceland to the 2018 World Cup in Russia, as well as knockout stage round of 16 in the Euros. He's got to find a way to get a cohesive system where they can all kind of get together on the same page. And it's probably a situation where they've got to play themselves into chemistry.
Let's just talk about the game specifically. For the Jamaican side, what do you think is the key to this game, and what do you think the U.S. can exploit in this game? So that's a little bit of a little bit of a tough game. So what's the deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's the headline game. It's kicking off the tournament, and I do think that defensively there are some questions regarding the Reggae Boys, particularly with their captain or one of their captains, Damon Lowe. He's coming a couple weeks ago with the Philadelphia Union off of a hamstring tweak. So is he going to be able to anchor that back line? Because if he's not, that's where things start to get a little shaky. Amari Bell should be okay on the left side, but then you're kind of mixing and matching guys who we're not quite sure going to fit together if Lowe were to kind of anchor the back line of that defense.
So overall, you thinking? What's your prediction? I'm gonna leave you guys both with your score predictions. What do you think is going to be the score prediction of the game?
I'm going to give it the draw 2-2.
All right, Rahi, what you got?
Yeah, I actually got a draw on this one too. I do think Chris is right in that it's a Jamaica team that has some weaknesses in the back. So I think we can exploit that. And I think the Jamaicans have a lot of firepower up front. I find it hard for us to contain this attack, and I do think they will score. But I think it's 1-1. I think we're lucky to play this Jamaica team early in the tournament. They're still finding their feet. This is the first time they played together, so we get that advantage, I think. And so you're going to see, I think, an early cagey first half, and then maybe some goals in the second half. I think it's 1-1. I think a draw for both teams.
All right, and I'm going to go with 2-1 to the USA. I don't think we'll dominate this game. I think we'll be dominated in this game, but somehow or the other, I have a feeling that we'll get it done. But look, like I said, maybe this is Jamaica's year, and that's always a good sign. The more teams that can come through, it makes the whole region more competitive. But thanks, Chris. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys later on. Today is the game. Everyone watch it. Go for whoever you want to go for today. But as always, go USA, Oren. And in this case, we'll come to you after the game, see how it goes, and then we'll go from there.
Chris, we'll talk after the game.
Yeah,
all right.
We'll be friends again after the game.
We'll be friends again after. Exactly.
All right. Sounds good, guys.